Sometimes the greatest love stories are the ones that never get to bloom, forever trapped in the realm of what-ifs. The story of Eren Yeager and Mikasa Ackerman is one that echoes through the halls of anime history. Their relationship is tangled in a web of silence, loyalty, and fate, leaving us to wonder, was their love ever meant to thrive? Or were they destined to be star-crossed lovers from the very beginning, unable to escape the cruel grip of destiny? Eren silenced the wall he built. Words left unspoken can become the heaviest burden we carry. From the start, Eren Yeager carried a weight far too heavy for any one person. His vision of freedom, of breaking the chains of their imprisoned world, consumed his every thought. In the early days, we saw a boy filled with passion, anger, and unrelenting drive. And yet, despite his fiery spirit, there was always a silence when it came to Mikasa. Eren never fully acknowledged the depth of Mikasa's feelings. Was it because he didn't care, or was it because he knew deep down that their love could never coexist with his destiny? The truth is, Eren's silence wasn't indifference. It was a barrier, a wall he built around his heart to protect Mikasa from the truth he had long accepted, that his fate would tear them apart. Sometimes silence is the loudest cry for help. In many ways, Eren's silence was his way of shielding Mikasa from the pain of knowing what was to come. He understood that to truly be free, to save the world from the cycle of hatred, he would have to sacrifice everything, even her. Mikasa's unwavering loyalty, a double-edged sword. Loyalty is love's greatest weapon, but sometimes it cuts the one who wields it the most. Mikasa's loyalty to Eren is perhaps the most defining aspect of her character. From the moment he saved her from her captors, she vowed to protect him at all costs. It was an unspoken bond, one built on gratitude, admiration, and eventually, love. But Mikasa's loyalty became her greatest flaw. Her devotion blinded her to the changes within Eren. Even as he grew more distant, as his heart hardened, she remained by his side, hoping that the boy she once knew would return. But Eren was no longer that boy. He had become something far more complex, driven by forces beyond her control. To love someone is to see them truly. But what happens when the person you love becomes a stranger? Mikasa couldn't accept that Eren was slipping away from her, not because she didn't see it, but because she refused to. In her heart, she believed that no matter how dark his path became, there was still a piece of the Eren she loved left within him. But as the world crumbled around them, she had to confront a painful truth. Love alone wasn't enough to save him. Destiny is a cruel master. It doesn't care for love, dreams, or hope. It demands sacrifice. Eren's journey was never about finding happiness or peace. From the moment he inherited the founding Titan's power, his fate was sealed. He was a man destined to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, to make choices no one else could bear. And in doing so, he had to sacrifice everything, including his connection to Mikasa. Eren's love for Mikasa was real, but it was buried beneath layers of duty, pain, and sacrifice. To free the world, he had to walk a path of destruction, knowing full well that it would tear them apart. It wasn't that he didn't love her, he did. But he loved the idea of freedom more. Sometimes, love isn't enough. Sometimes the weight of the world is too heavy for even love to carry. Eren understood that his destiny would lead him to his end. In his eyes, it was better to push Mikasa away than to let her cling to a future that could never be. In the end, Eren's love for her was shown in his sacrifice, the decision to keep her away from the horrors he would unleash. Not all love stories are meant to have happy endings. Some are written in tragedy from the very first word. Eren and Mikasa's love was never meant to be simple. It was a love forged in the fires of war, survival, and trauma. From the beginning, they were two souls bound together by circumstance rather than choice. Mikasa's love for Eren was pure, unwavering, and unselfish, while Eren's love was complicated, buried under layers of duty and the crushing weight of the future. In a different world, perhaps they could have had a chance. Perhaps, if Eren hadn't been burdened with the fate of humanity, they could have found peace together. But this was not their story. Their love was doomed not because it wasn't real, but because the world they lived in was never meant to allow it to flourish. Even in the end, love doesn't fade. It lingers in the quiet spaces of our hearts, haunting us with what could have been. In the final moments of Eren's life, we see the depth of his feelings for Mikasa. Though he never said the words, his actions spoke for him. He allowed her to be the one to end his life, a decision that spoke of his trust, love, and understanding of her strength. He knew that, even after everything, Mikasa was the only one who could set him free. And when Mikasa kissed him goodbye, holding his severed head in her hands, it was a moment of pure heartbreak. It was a love that could never be fulfilled, yet one that remained even in death. In the end, it was always her. It was always Eren. Their love was tragic, but it was real, and sometimes that's all that matters. Love doesn't die with us. It echoes in the memories we leave behind. The love between Eren and Mikasa wasn't doomed from the start, but it was fated to be incomplete. Their relationship was a reflection of the world they lived in, a world where love, peace, and happiness were fleeting luxuries in the face of survival and sacrifice. Eren's destiny pulled him in one direction, while Mikasa's love tried to pull him in another. In the end, neither could escape their fate. But perhaps that's what makes their story so unforgettable. It's not a story of love conquering all, but of love enduring despite the odds. And that, in itself, is a tragedy worth remembering. Even if love cannot save the world, it can still be the light that guides us through the darkest of nights.